Chuck gets the cocaine out of his nose and beard. We'd like to welcome you to the very first actually audible YouTube Live experience. I think this is working. Live? I'm going to ask the Slack. This is Fast Break Breakfast Ground Chuck Edition Live. I'm wearing a Patreon-supported hat given to me by the Slack Father for Christmas. Look at that.
Oh,
Chuck, what's your hat say? If they could,
best friend.
Certainly one of my best friends. Let's see here.
I went to a restaurant in Vegas called Best Friend, and I bought a hat there drunk off my ass. They had slushy, Hennessy, and Coke.
Slushy, say what, see? So can we talk about Hennessy? Hennessy is brandy, correct?
It's a cognac, yes, it's a brandy.
Wow. So describe to me what it tastes like in comparison to other cognacs, because it's got to be worse, right?
I just think it tastes like high school.
Okay.
It's like a nostalgia.
My high school tasted like Steel Reserve and Corona.
We've had long discussions about Steel Reserve. And
depending on who I was trying to impress. So is Corona, because at the time, Corona was like, it was during that branding campaign. So Corona was very sophisticated. Yeah. Also, big, do you remember Red Dog?
I do. See, I think we were raised in different marketing distribution hubs. I was into Cyanide Special Brew, Cisco, and...
you were ostensibly black or Puerto Rican?
I am basically a Puerto Rican kid. But yeah, and then a lot of Old English. We drank 4 days of... in Miami, in South Florida, you could only get quarts of malt liquor due to some regulatory thing. So we would get quarts of Old English, and we would call it a beer. And
yeah.
How many beers you had? 4, but you had 4 quarts of malt liquor at like 8% ABV.
Exactly, and that's the reason it was easy to drift into complete degeneration, because I had no idea how to drink. So my version of drinking was to simply drink until we could drink no more. And it would be and also because we only had there'd be 4 or 5 of us, and we'd have these 24 beers. Because 24 beers back then was a lot. So you'd drink them as fast as you could to get the desired effect. We also would pour ourselves large pint glasses of tequila and whiskey, because we thought that's how you drank tequila and whiskey.
But as I got older, I did not get smarter when it came to my consumption of alcohol. I got into the military and just got... really interested in the way flowing works coming out of tubes.
And
I built an 8-man beer bong.
Well, you're an engineer.
Nozzles on it, and we had to make sure everybody on 3 unlocked their valves so that one person didn't have all of the pressure flowing into their mouth and busting their teeth. It had PSI 120.
I'm losing you now.
Range. We did the math.
You're back in the Steel Reserve term, right? Because that's that high gravity. That's that high gravity. Well, anyways, on this episode of Ground Chuck, we're going to eschew our usual 4-course meal. We have comments in the YouTube Live. It says, doesn't the military make you dumber, though, in some ways? From Ryan D. I'm going to say that's the Love Kebabs 42069.
It is. I love the military and everyone in it.
Strong finish there, Chuck. We're going to try to make...
As a veteran, I love them all. Yes.
We're going to try to make our Pickle Picks live on the show this time, as soon as Chuck gets done taking a massive vape bong rip.
I haven't had a cigarette all year, thanks to this thing. God
bless. That a Juul?
It's not a Juul. It's something else. It's a Views or some crap. I don't know. It was at the gas station. I bought it.
What flavor are we talking?
It's tobacco flavor. I've tried to stop smoking, and it's just led to relationships being strained due to my nicotine addiction and irritability if I don't have it.
All right, Pickle Pick'em. We're going to start with
Here we go.
Spurs at Pistons. Looks like we have the line at Spurs -3 at Pistons. I don't know where... I'm not looking at the public money, but I imagine that considering how hot San Antonio has been, that it's overwhelmingly on the Spurs. Chuck, what's your thought process here?
Thinking matchups, and Spurs I don't think they match up well against the Pistons, but they are on a hot streak. So I think that's where they're getting the edge here. But I think the Pistons are going to eke out either a victory or 1 point loss. I like the way Blake matches up there. He's probably going to go banana pants on LaMarcus Turner.
It's funny. It's funny as Chuck descends into RoboCop voice. It's funny. I feel like Blake Griffin, for all the Kia jumping hysterics where you're used to, he's kind of LaMarcus Aldridge now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got a jump up, but he's still quicker than I think LaMarcus is at this point, and he'll have an advantage. I don't know. It'd be fun to see. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Pistons here. I like the home. I usually go home, guys. Home teams usually are consistent.
I'm going to go Spurs. I just have a hard time. I know that's going with the public, but I have a hard time going against them right now. I feel like DeRozan is beastly against teams like the Pistons, so I'll go Spurs. We're soldiering through Chuck's internet connection. But I like it because it actually pops up on your screen and says that the connection is very poor. Also, hidden wrinkle. Chuck has lost his computer charger, and we actually have a ticking time bomb on our hands. So Chuck's going to give us what percentage he's at every once in a while. Just good.
I left my charger in Vegas. I'm at 38%. That's how much time we have until this live YouTube is over.
So we're going to...
Then I won't be able to do anything until I go home, where I mailed myself on Amazon a charger.
So this is an experimental podcast, to be sure. So we're going to give you as much time as we can, folks. Next, Nets at Celtics. We have Nets plus 10.5 at Boston. Chuck, where is thou'st head at?
I always find it hard to pick against any team for more than a double-digit point spread.
Even the Bucks?
It's the NBA. The Bucks have been ruining people, but yeah, the Celtics, I think, for whatever, as good as they are, they have trouble with big men, and I think the big man there in Brooklyn was his name, Jared Allen, who looks like a ABA player.
He's got a
goat
mustache
now.
Jared Allen, to me, has already cemented Hall of Fame status.
That throw is...
Didn't Ben Wallace get MVP consideration just based off of hair one year?
Well, yeah, and he was 6'6" and was the best defender in the NBA.
So you're going Nets plus 10.5?
Yeah, I'm a Ben Wallace hype truther, by the way.
Okay.
I think he's 6'6".
Interesting. So here's my issue with taking the Nets. Who guards Kyrie?
Nobody, to quote Keith Sweat.
Before I pontificate further, will you please share the story of how Keith Sweat saved your life?
One time I lived in the Bronx, New York. That's why I say bodega a lot, because I loved it there. And but I used to get my laundry washed and folded at this little laundromat. And I was after work one day picking up my laundry, and there's these 4 dudes who are from the Bronx standing out in front of their car in front of the laundromat. They see me go in. I get my laundry, come out, and I hear them in their car loudly playing Keith Sweat's Nobody. And one of the guys says to me, "Hey man, that laundry looks like my laundry bag." And then I said to them, "Hey man, that CD sounds like my Keith Sweat CD." And then all of his friends laughed. He said, "Okay, we're not going to murder you and take your underwear." And Keith Sweat saved my life.
How many times has your sense of humor saved your life, give or take, ballpark figure within the hundreds?
It has not saved my life more than it's ever harmed me terribly. Accepting humor has caused me more trauma in my life than anything else.
I really like the Celtics here, with the exception of that Kyrie playing. So I talked about Kyrie earlier, and here's the question. Does Kyrie's defensive woes open up the Nets guard play? That's what makes me wonder. So I will go with you, Chuck. Nets plus 10.5. So far, I would imagine. You know what? I bet because that's a public team, I bet Boston is still the public money there.
Right.
So that might be the first time I've gone against the grain, as it were. Let's go to my formerly favorite team, the Memphis Grizzlies, at your Pelicans. I'm not sure if we should talk about the Grizzlies without Keith here. A, because I'll probably say something false. B, because I'll probably say something inhumane. But I really hate the Grizzlies now. What's that? Say again?
You're a mean person sometimes. You're very mean. You can be very mean.
I feel like they've been very mean to me. And the Grizz are 5.5-point underdogs. I am taking the Grizzlies, though, because I think the Pelicans suck out loud. The Pelicans usually do very well against the Grizzlies, but I think the Grizzlies will take this terrible Justin Holiday trade and get some sort of vim and vigor from it. I think they're trying to prove something after the King's former King's kerfluffle, we'll call it, the sullying of the temple.
Question: has Keith used the word "switchy" to describe Holiday on the show yet?
Is that trending on Twitter? Is that being used on Twitter?
Switchy. It's a big. Oh, by the way,
then I'm going to say yes.
Podcast. Yes, he said switchy. Not twitchy, switchy.
Switchy.
He can play multiple positions. That's actually not a bad look if you're like trying to be modern, but still are stuck with a immobile center.
Ian Walker in our comments and reactions disagrees and takes the Pels, but he does it with like an emoji that I don't quite understand. I think it's a sad emoji. But who you got, Chuck?
I'm going to go, when in doubt, go by the stereotypes of the city. I think Marc Gasol is going to have too many hurricanes on Bourbon Street.
Oh.
And is going to, Pelicans by 6 points.
You know Gasol's like a Sangria Chianti guy. There's no hurricanes going down. All right, that brings us to, let's test our mettle here. The Jazz at the Bucks. Bucks minus 5.5 at home. Who you got, Chuck, and why?
This is a hard one. Here, I'll go Jazz, and here's why. I think the things that give Giannis the most problems are, I think, dominant centers, defense, because he is such a mess for teams down low. When a guy like Gobert can, alter shots, he's still going to get his, but it's going to make it a little more difficult for him. So, I think the Jazz could probably see a good game from Donovan Hurdy-Gurdy Man Mitchell and maybe, get a 2-point loss or even pull out a win on the road. Wouldn't surprise me.
I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll with what I can only assume to be public money and go Bucks big time. I think Brolo pulling Gobert out of the paint is a good thing if that is indeed what happens. And I just don't really see how they stop Giannis. And I also think the Bucks on the other end have exactly what is needed to stop the Jazz. So I'll go with the Bucks. I'm being very public leaning. I really hope that power listener Joe Yoder isn't listening, as we have a $100 bet going on this month's picks, and he could just completely either ape or go against. Probably go against if you want to win, because this is the worst season of my lifetime betting on the NBA, which brings us to another hard game to pick. Nugs at Rockets. The Rockets are a minus 1.5 point favorite at home. Chuck, I'll go first here, so you can make up whatever bullshit answer you're going to come up with while you stall and I stall. I'm going to get very, 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 very against my guys, my Nugs. I just think the Rockets are too hot right now.
They're hot.
I just think the Rockets are too hot. I think Harden is kind of possessed. The foul rate certainly will help Harden against the Nuggets. So I expect on both sides a parade to the line, which I think helps Houston. So I'm going to stay with the Rockets. I hate that. I'll be rooting Nugs. I'll probably slip out of this Gasol jersey as quickly as I can, as soon as that nightmare game is over, and get into one of my sundry Jokic glory jammies. My Jokic onesie that I had made. Who you got, Chuck?
You got that? I'm going with the Rockets. They're on fire, and the Nugs are hot too. But I think Harden. There's nobody if Harden's on his is gonna stop him. So I'm going Rockets. That seems like a weird line though.
It truly does. Like if this was at Denver, I feel differently because Harden's soft body can't handle that. But I just don't see it.
Well in altitude.
Let's get an update real quick on Chuck's childlike computer battery usage.
So I don't have a battery. I'm currently at 33%.
Thank you, Alexa. 30 what?
33%, and we've got a 20-minute. We're doing 20 minutes of podcast right now. So we're working with money. Here's where I'm worried right now.
Okay.
The sun is setting in Denver, Colorado.
Right.
I've been using the it's golden hour. I've been using the sun to make me look beautiful, and pretty soon I'm going to have to turn on a fluorescent overhead light. So we're going to fight that shortly. Also, I'm at my girlfriend's house, and I have no idea what switch turns on that light. So we're going to we might take us on a tour, see what happens.
You're fine. You're in completely digitized, pixelized form right now for most of us anyway. So I wouldn't worry about it. You can get very Saw snuff filmy if you want. Where's your John Burr mask? If you want to get truly horrifying.
My girlfriend keeps it locked up. She doesn't want me wearing it when I'm alone.
Special occasions?
Mm-hmm.
The John Burr face mask sex swing combo?
Oh, man. I got a full chub right now. Ooh.
Do it. Let's go to Doncic Town. Lakers at Mavs. Mavs are 8-point favorites over the LeBron-less Lakers.
That's weird. I know LeBron, whatever. But the Lakers have looked terrible. They've kind of forced those kids who last year had the rock a lot to now step back into that role, and it seems like they're rusty or they don't believe in themselves now. I love the Mavs, too. The Mavs have been kind of killing it for me lately.
So you're going Mavs -8. Give me Lakers +8. I just don't believe – I love the Mavs as well. I think, right now there's nothing more beautiful than the Doncic step back. Except for Doncic's new haircut. Kind of when it gets late in the game and he gets that Kevin McHale greasy going, that's very S.E. Hinton, my friend. That's very Pony Boy. I could get into that. He's trying to make me switch teams. But give me the Lakers there. That's just a lot of points.
You talking basketball teams or sexual?
Look, I'm not going to explain how I feel to you or anyone. Teams. I don't have to identify.
If he ends up at the end of if Doncic ends up with a pack of cigarettes in a T-shirt sleeve and a jean jacket,
cigarettes got to be rolled up on the sleeve right here.
He might steal you from your lady.
But give me the Doncic. Give me the Doncic step back three over pretty much any move except for when Giannis takes 3 steps to do the entire court. Can I count that as one move? The full court Euro step?
The full court Euro?
Give me that.
My favorite Luka move is the laser beam one-handed pass cross court that no one should be making, and he makes it anyway. It's three or four of those a game. I'm like, that was a stupid pass, but it ended up perfectly where it needed to be, and it worked.
I feel like the Mavs are getting too much of a bonus value here from being at home. I feel like that's being baked into the line, so I don't like the Lakers to win necessarily, but 8's a lot of points. Let's go to your spiritual homeland, Chuck. I know you claim Miami, but really Orlando. Orlando is where your heart is. Magic at Kings. Baby Kangs -5. What you think? Who you got?
Magic have been playing like dogs lately. They haven't been covering, for me at least, in my non-official record in my brain that is probably warped and distorted.
Hey, but I think right now you're on top of the host power rankings, which is damning with faint praise.
Yeah, no, we're just nobody knows anything this year, which has made it fun to talk about. But going across the country and playing in California is hard for a young team. So I'm going to go with the Kangs. Baby
Kangs. Gotta be the most fun team for me to watch in the NBA, unless Willie Cauley-Stein is playing, and then I am absolutely miserable. But
John's personal fatwa against Willie Cauley-Stein remains.
Look, he and Julius Randle, you've seen how I work. I get something stuck in my craw. Usually it's Dwayne Casey, but Dwayne has
David Fizdale.
Well, okay. Look, I'm gonna need more than floss to get that out from betwixt my teeth. I'm gonna need one of those water picks. I'm gonna need a dental hygienist. Isn't your girlfriend a dental hygienist? I'm gonna need your girlfriend to come over, put on the mask, put me in the sex swing, get deep up in and get this Fizdale out my mouth.
She's mad that you haven't met her yet, by the way. She thinks it's a conspiracy.
Look, let's unpack that. So I had theories on
that she was fake.
Why it wasn't fake. There was perhaps handicapped, which I think, and by handicapped I do mean ugly. You would consider an ugly woman handicapped. But I've seen pictures of her. She seems very, very pretty. You know I don't like gingers, and I have heard that she has red hair.
Yes, she does.
She also doesn't like that I call her Big Red, having never met her.
Yeah, that's a big thing. She's got a problem with that.
Yeah, I found that you shouldn't... see, here's the problem. As a fat person, I throw around these fat terms because they don't bother me. I got to cut back on it. on it.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
We were doing like a roasting thing at one of the comedy shows, and this girl was roasting me, and and there were fat jokes in there, and she has like an accent, so I called her, and she's not thin, so I called her Pjork, because she kind of sounded Scandinavian, and the hush that went over the crowd. I learned.
Yeah, it's not even.
Just being a burly boy does not allow you to use what I've now Googled to find out sizest sexist remarks. So I'm working on it. Chuck, they have.
That's funny, I like Pjork. That's great.
I thought it was pretty good. The comics laughed. You know what I'm talking about. So we got some good feedback from the chat right now. Ian Walker says Chuck is basically Anthony Bourdain. He might as well be attempting to video podcast from random locations around the world and not have the adapter for that country's power. To which Ryan D counters private parts unknown with Chuck. So Chuck, I love the name Ground Chuck. We'll keep Ground Chuck going. But when you're in remote locations, this is private parts unknown.
I'm with it.
Please bring the sex swing everywhere to use as a backdrop so everyone knows.
Done. If you want, I could go grab a restraint. It's a 4-point restraint I have in the room. We could show it.
Is that for rappelling? Can she rappel down onto your Janssen?
It was more for pole work.
Okay, I'm not sure if you said pole work or pull work, but I'm imagining a Catherine the Great like harness where the horse is somehow lowered. And I do mean horse this time, not whores. But I don't think I ever said what I was actually taking. God help me. I'm going to take the Magical Kingdom +5 against the Kings. I want to use analysis. I desperately do. But I just think if the Magic have anything going for them, its length and the ability to stop things closer to the hoop. If Vucci Main isn't doing his pinwheel routine. And I think Vucci Main should be able to score at will against the aforementioned Willie Cauley-Stein. So give me the Magic. That takes us to our last game. And the aforementioned Fizdale-led New York Knicks at the Blazers. The Knicks are a mind-blowing 11.5-point underdogs to the Trailblazers.
Yes. Shout out to the only team actively tanking in the NBA. And not being ashamed about it. New York, full tank. Trying to get to Zion.
I think you're overlooking the inactively tanking Grizzlies, though.
They're trying to get better Grizzlies while still being awful.
Chris Meatball Wallace trading picks and players with some potential for a player that I think we actively know what he is. Although I do like the Holiday family. So I'll take it. I'll take it. Give me a holiday. Give me all the goddamn holidays. I like the holidays.
Nobody's ever mad to have a holiday.
No. They're not.
Like, damn, this holiday sucks. You're always like, even if it's not the best holiday, it's better than no holiday.
There are plenty of Scrooges in this world. Plenty of Scrooges. Who you got in this massively spreaded game?
I'm going to go with my gut and say that the Blazers are going to destroy them by 20 points. So 11.5 seems reasonable.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Give me that enormous spread. I know Blazers at home doesn't exactly mean what it used to be, what it used to mean. Also, like, I can just see, like, letting off the gas here. Blazers putting in the Layman of the world. Although, Jake Layman, like, they're finally starting to, like, give him the minutes that I think he has earned over some of those other poor bench players. But that's just a lot of points. I do think the Blazers have separated themselves from a lot of the lower tier teams in the West, but I don't think the Blazers are an elite team by any stretch. I know it doesn't take elite to get a double-digit favorite over the Knicks, but give me the Knicks here, unless they're completely blazed out from sundry weed shops in the Portland area. I'm
thinking they still got Cleanthony early running to get them weed at the store.
Cleanthony.
And that's what's going to happen.
Cleanthony, underrated nickname. That is an actual name. All right, Chuck, we made it. We made it to about the 30-minute mark with your computer not dying. We got all the way through the picks.
26% left. I mean, we could take more questions.
Let me go see if we've got any in the comments or reactions. I'm going to give a last call for queries.
This could be like a weed. I could just start getting high. I got some OG Lime Killer.
What is that?
Right? It's called OG Lime Killer.
That sounds like something you use to bury bodies.
It's aggressive. And then my favorite, it's here, Purple Urkel.
My word. That's better. That's going to become more of a staple than Maui Wowie, I believe.
Purple Urkel, first of all, like beautiful, alliterative, just sounds.
Neither
Second
beautiful
all,
nor alliterative, I might add.
You're right. It's not alliterative, but it rolls off the tongue. I know there's rhyming schemes, but let me show you what this fucking thing looks like. It came from the planet Krypton.
What am I? Oh, dear.
Look, it's purple.
Well, it must be noted Chuck is in the state of Colorado, and this is completely legal. I'll bust out this card, this magic card. It's called Opposition. It's probably worth at least $10. Played in standard and modern, well, not standard, but modern and legacy formats. Chuck, we have a question from Ryan D., the MVP of our pool thus far. Chuck, who are you going to blaze with at the Roo this year?
What?
Who are you going to blaze with at Bonnaroo this year?
Ooh. Well, our Bonnaroo stories are great. Bonnaroo this year was lacking John Byrne. He was missed, R.I.P.
Retired.
He called it. They hanged his jersey up in the rafters, his acid-stained shirt up in the rafters.
Do not lick that garment. Do not lick that garment.
I tried to hang out with Chris Bosh, and that didn't work. I just yelled, "It's Chris Bosh" on Molly and tried to take his picture a bunch, and he saw me.
I was there for that. Very nice.
Because I didn't know that my flash was on, so every time I tried to take a picture of him subtly, really, he just saw a light coming from his, 6 o'clock, and it was dark at a LCD sound system show, and he gave me a look. I put it in the Slack. It was like OG great Slack material.
I think he was hanging out with
Josh McRoberts.
Yeah, Josh McBob. He was hanging out with Jesus McBob. Well, that's going to do it for us, guys. Chuck, before we go, I have to insist that you click send on your Pickle Pick'em. We done?
What?
Have you sent your Pickle Pick'em?
Here, I hit it right now. Boom.
There we go. There we go. You got to click the pictures. You got to click the pictures. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening in. We're going to get better at this. This is still kind of a test run. Eventually, we'll get Keith on here. Eventually, we'll get Chuck's computer up to snuff, and we'll do ourselves a serious show. We'll get out of the Skype realm as soon as we can. I know there's some audio issues there, too. But thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram, which one day we will use. And then, soon, shortly, Chuck and I, eyes up, Chuck. Say hello. Chuck and I are going. are going to start. The CAPTCHA so hard. Are going to. I fail at CAPTCHA half the time. Are going to start.
Look how many bicycles there are.
And what is it if there's like a part of a bicycle wheel? Is that a bicycle? I don't know. That's a bicycle wheel. I don't know. But we're going to start doing some Twitch stuff. January 13th, I'm getting all my stuff ready by January 13th. That's the date I've set for myself. So check it out, guys. We are Fast Break Breakfast. We love you guys. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. Please go and rate, review 5 stars, or I will send Chuck to your house in a John Burr mask with a sex swing cravated around his neck. It can happen. Anyways, without further ado, ta-ta.